Pete Buttigieg's increasingly popular presidential run has drawn the support of more than 24 top Democratic fundraisers, according to a list of CNBC obtained from campaign aides. The list includes people who bundled big dollar donations for Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Steve Elmendorf, who bundled more than $100,000 for Clinton in 2016, decided to support Buttigieg on Sunday, the day the mayor officially launched his campaign with a speech in South Bend, Indiana. So this dude, another guy in bed with the Democratic establishment, as we talked about yesterday. And look, at the end of the day, this guy, he's attempt number 3. That's what he is. Hey, do you guys like Kamala? No. Beto O'Rourke? No. Pete Buttigieg? No. Okay, how about this shot of decaf espresso laced with Ambien? That's going to be the next try. How about just this this Barbie doll where when you pull the string, it just shouts out platitudes at you? Like, you just pull innovation, America, the Constitution, democracy, strong, strengthen each other. Incrementalism, bipartisanship, a bipartisan marketplace of ideas. That's going to be the 5th try. They tried Kamala, they tried Beto, they tried Pete Buttigieg. No one cares. So next it's going to be shot of decaf espresso laced with Ambien. Then it's going to be, just going to be a Barbie doll. You pull the string, it just shouts out platitudes. That's what Pete Buttigieg, he is just trying number 3. They're just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. That's what the Democratic establishment is doing. Because they really don't want Bernie. They really don't want Bernie. They really don't want Tulsi. All right, so here's something else about Pete Buttigieg that you guys shared today. He is in favor of a national service program. So what's that all about? Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg on Monday night advocated a form of national public service for all young adults as a way to create unity among Americans. We really want to talk about the threat to social cohesion that helps characterize this presidency, but also just this era. One thing we could do that would change that would be to make it, if not legally obligatory, but certainly a social norm, that anyone after they're 18 spends a year in national service. He mentioned that for him and several former presidents, including John F. Kennedy and George H.W. Bush, serving in the military allowed them to meet and build trust with people of starkly different backgrounds, education, and income. Buttigieg served in the Navy from 2009 to 2017, including a deployment to Afghanistan. Buttigieg and Rep. Tulsi Gabbard are the only presidential candidates who are veterans. Wow, an article that actually mentions Tulsi Gabbard as a candidate. That's good. Buttigieg was vague about what would constitute national service, but both he and Maddow acknowledged it would most likely not be a military draft. No, because if it's a military draft, then people might start questioning our endless wars. You don't want that. Without saying the program would be mandatory, Buttigieg did suggest colleges and employers ask applicants about participation in it. The Indiana mayor said a national service program could be a tool to bridge deepening divisions in American society and increase public participation. You know what else could be a tool to do that is confronting our corrupt media structure that's basically non-existent. You know what else would be a tool to that? Standing for policies that people actually connect with. It's ironic, the guy who basically refuses to stand for anything, which is Pete Buttigieg, he's barely better than Beto O'Rourke in that regards, and that's being generous. Bernie Sanders fills up stadiums. Tulsi Gabbard has a big movement behind her that's growing. Why are they able to do that? Why are they able to mobilize people? Why is the DSA mobilizing people? There's all kinds of ways to mobilize people other than having this mandatory year of service. That, it's easy to talk about that when you're looking at it through the veil of privilege. Some people, it might not be easy. They might be working 2 and 3 jobs to support a family or to help support their family because they don't come from means at all. So this idea of doing this year of service, which I don't think he specifies whether or not there would be any compensation. So what would this national service program include? Would it include compensation? Or would it just be a year of volunteering? I mean, hey, that's a nice idea. I'd love to see a world where everybody could just do a year in the Peace Corps or something like that if they wanted to. We don't live in that world right now, though. And instead of proposing a policy to have a national year of service, why don't you propose some policies that would help make it easier for people all across the country to do something like that? To go say, hey, I'm going to go join the Peace Corps for 6 months. Because I can at least have a little bit. I have a little bit of breathing room that I can kind of take an intermission in my life. Everybody should be able to do that. A lot of people aren't. I think it's a beautiful idea that if someone wants to just be like, hey, I'm going to sublet my apartment. I have a little bit of money saved up. I'm just going to take an intermission. And I'm going to go volunteer somewhere for 6 months. I'm going to go to Thailand and do this thing. I'm going to go to an underprivileged place in the United States and just help build some stuff for, a couple months. And then I'm just going to kind of party at night and just chill out. Just kind of hit the reset button on life. I love the idea of people doing that. I know some people that have done it. They were fortunate enough to come from a background that enabled them to do it. A lot of people, the thought of doing something like that is insane to them. So instead of proposing policies that would pretty much require it, why don't you propose policies that would enable people to have better quality lives so they could make the decision to do something like that? Why don't you support Medicare for all? Why don't you support living wages? Why don't you support ending the wars? Why don't you support tuition-free college? A lot of people, they can't have that year of service before or after college because they're in debt for the rest of their lives. You see how some stupid idea like this is just skipping ahead a bunch of steps? Do you see how an idea like this is just blinded by privilege? And who's he talking about it with? Rachel Maddow. This is just how disconnected they are. And maybe this idea is coming from a genuine place. I don't know for sure that it isn't. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't really care. I do know that it's incredibly short-sighted. I do know that proposing something like this, oh, this will bring people together. Just have them check out for a year and commit to this service thing. That's a luxury, Pete Buttigieg. That's a luxury that not all Americans have. In fact, a lot don't. A lot of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. So you see how this is skipping ahead multiple steps? Even if it's well-intended, which maybe it is. I don't know that it isn't. Again, it doesn't really matter. This just shows how out of touch Pete Buttigieg is, how out of touch MSNBC is, how out of touch the Democratic stable is, with exception to Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and